Now, the Constitutional Court today heard Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane's application for leave to appeal regarding President Cyril Ramaphosa's ANC presidential campaign funding in 2017. Mkhwebane is appealing a ruling made by the Pretoria High Court, which set aside her findings and ordered her to pay a punitive cost order. To help me unpack her appeal, I'm joined now by Freedom Under Law CEO Nicole Fritz. Nicole, good evening, and thank you very much for joining us tonight on the Newsfeed Late Night. I suppose key amongst the issues being argued here is whether or not a Chapter 9 institution like the Public Protector should have jurisdiction to probe campaign funding.
Well, that's it exactly. A lot of the argument today was around what exactly is the remit of her powers. What is it that she may investigate? What's meant by state affairs, and does campaign financing fall within that remit? So does she have competence to investigate that? So you're exactly right.
Now, of course, the president arguing that she doesn't, and not only that she misdirected herself, quite honestly, in going that direction. What's the feeling of Freedom Under Law on that?
So Freedom Under Law was amicus in this particular matter, and it made some submissions around not only the remit, so what her competence is in terms of she can investigate, but it's also what remedial action she can take when she makes particular findings, and to whom she can direct that remedial action. So is it competent for her to direct parties who might not be the specific subjects of her investigation? So, for instance, in this particular matter, she addressed some of the remedial action to the National Prosecuting Authority and to Parliament. And there was quite a lot of contestation around that, and as to whether, again, that would fall within her remit. And obviously these are arguments now before the Constitutional Court, and we await to hear how they decide.
Yeah. But by virtue of the fact that the president was the deputy president at the time when these funds were exchanging and going through account, does this make it a state affair that therefore should be investigated by the Public Protector? Because that's essentially what she says she investigates.
Well, yes, I mean, her legal team, her counsel, made the submission that it would be naive to believe that the actions taken by the then deputy president, now president, in the conduct of his electoral campaign doesn't have real bearing in respect of state affairs, and in consequence, it should fall within the ambit. Counsel for the president pushed back against that. We have to recall that there is a High Court order, a Gauteng High Court order, that upheld the presidency's argument and held that, in fact, the financing of the campaign did not fall within the understanding, should not fall within the understanding of state affairs.
Now, do you have a view on the answer the president gave to the then leader of the Democratic Alliance, Mmusi Maimane, when he was asked in Parliament about that 500,000? He gave an answer to say, well, yeah, I do know about this, because my son was doing work with this company in Krugersdorp, and so I'm well aware. Later on, of course, he wrote a letter to the Speaker of Parliament to say, that wasn't quite the case. That's not the correct information that I gave. Should we accept that the president made a mistake?
Look, so Freedom Under Law is not, hasn't taken a position on that. I mean, what I would say is, obviously Freedom Under Law is very concerned to ensure that public officials are scrupulously honest and transparent with the public, with the constituency. Certainly when you are as significant an office bearer as the president, that those duties must weigh even more strongly on you. But at the same time, we also recognize that genuine mistakes might be made, mistakes made in good faith. And when there is a very sort of prompt initiative to try and correct those mistakes, then it's not necessary that the office bearer should be punished for doing so. So that would be our position.
Yeah. But also, I mean, the other question that comes to the fore now, of course, is the competence of the public protector herself and the lawyers of the president, pointing out that she made some grave mistakes that any lawyer essentially should not be making. Should she be punished for that?
Well, again, it's a question of to what extent she erred. Had she been put on notice that she was making errors of such grave magnitude, once she had been placed on notice, did she fail to correct her actions promptly? And that is for the court to determine. Again, to refer back to the High Court decision, as you alluded to in your introduction, they did hold that her conduct was such that the personal cost